Alright, we got another, hopefully good video for you guys here, but it's probably going to be a little concerning for me. What we have here today is American foods that are banned in other countries. Now, if you are from somewhere else that's not the United States, please let me know if any of these foods mentioned here are banned in your country, or what popular American foods that, aren't listed here that are banned in your country. Go ahead and let me know in the comment section down below on those. Now, I'm obviously not an idiot. I am very much aware that American food is not an overly great product unless you're able to, grow your own garden and raise your own livestock. You're probably eating some sort of chemical or poison or preservative, something is in your food. I'm not an idiot, but I'm just kind of curious to see what foods they list on here. So without further ado, let's go ahead and hop right into the video.
Most Americans want to believe that the United States is the gold standard of clean food, but
I don't know a single American that believes that we are the gold standard of clean food. I mean, I don't know anybody that does.
that belief may not hold up to scrutiny. From unsanitary practices in mass production to the addition of dangerous chemicals, countries have good reason to give the side eye to imported foods claiming to be USDA approved. That's right. This week we're talking about American foods that have been
Swiss
banned
rolls.
by other countries.
I love Swiss
But
rolls.
before we get started, be sure to subscribe to the Weird
No,
History
sure.
Foods
I'm
channel.
just kidding.
Then leave a comment and tell us what other world food facts you would like to know more about. Now let's see how wrong the rest of the world really is.
Yeah, Skittles aren't good anyway.
Since the dawn of Skittles, there have been rumors about the dangers of eating them. Every
Now,
one of us,
sour
or at least
Skittles
one
are
classmate claimed that the red ones make you sterile,
But I won't eat
and the
those.
yellow ones, they give you cancer. Turns out, it might be worse than that. First of all, your classmate wasn't wrong. The dyes known as Yellow 5 and Yellow 6 have been linked to hives and hyperactivity in children. Sweden and Norway have banned the candies out of concern. The European Union will most likely be banning Skittles at the end of the year, having already swapped out some of the dye for more natural flavors. This is because of something called titanium dioxide, which can be found making the colors pop across the rainbow.
When you have chemicals and dyes and stuff that are put in your food that sounds like they belong on the periodic table or whatever it is where they're using like chemistry, you got a problem there. I mean, come on.
Research linked
Who thought that
titanium
was a good
dioxide
idea?
to damaged DNA, which can lead to cancer. While Europe may be ahead of the Skittles awareness curve, America is quickly catching up. In May of 2021, the Environmental Working Group asked the FDA to categorize titanium dioxide as toxic. And yes, before you ask, right now the FDA says it's okay to consume some of that chemical compound. You can taste the rainbow, but just in moderation. California is home to an ongoing lawsuit against Mars Inc., the parent company of Skittles. The lawsuit claims Skittles are not only toxic, but are unfit for human consumption. So maybe for
What's the difference? I mean, if it's toxic, we shouldn't consume it.
now, play it safe. Just go have some Swedish fish instead.
Bread.
Ever looked at a piece of crusty French baguette, be it in cartoon or in real life, but let's be honest, it was probably in the hands of Pepe Le Pew, and think, I can't make a sandwich with that? As great as we talk about the invention of sliced bread, a lot of European countries have actually banned much of what you'd find on America's wide grocer shelves.
Really?
That's because we make a lot of our bread not just with grain, but with a variety snap packs worth of additives. Like azodicarbonamide, for example, which helps bleach flour and strengthen dough. Fun fact about azodicarbonamide, it's also used in a spectrum of industrial products.
I promise I'm not going to stop the video every time he says something that, Albert Einstein discovered in the 40s when he was digging through whatever. But, come on. I mean, if you got to put that kind of crap in here.
Including yoga mats. Downward dogs. The
That's
European
sad.
Union is really against the idea of its citizens eating yoga mat material and
Yeah.
will ban their use in food products. Pork, the other white meat, is a staple of American meats along with chicken, fish, and beef. From bacon to ham, hot dogs
Bacon.
to pork chops. American meat eaters consume about 67 pounds of pig per person every year. Soo-wee, my heart is stopping. Don't get us wrong, other nations indulge in swine just as much, if not more, than Americans. So why doesn't the US export scores of succulent bacon-bearing boars? Well, it turns out America adds a lot of chemicals during processing. Ractopamine in particular is used in many pig farms to raise porkier porkers. Ractopamine, which we put a dash of in a lot of foods, has been banned in 160 countries, which all consider the drug unsafe for human consumption. This in turn has led to a prohibition
USA.
of pork exports across the world. The EU hasn't touched the stuff since outlawing ractopamine in 2009. China and Russia have been ractopamine-less since 2013. Maybe that's because ractopamine has the same effects as an intoxicant on humans and can cause tachycardia, headaches, and muscle spasms if consumed in large enough quantities. But it is a small price to pay for a perfect piece of the pork.
Okay. Alright. Look, I can live without most of the pork. I eat bacon every once in a while, mainly on a burger, so I'm already really not being healthy anyway. But chicken? I mean, chicken's always my go-to for when I want to feel like I'm doing something positive for my body.
Hygiene in
Chicken, broccoli, and
America
water.
often comes down to dousing stuff in a chlorine bath and calling it FDA approved, and chicken is no exception. Pathogen reduction treatments, or PRTs, refer to the use of different chemicals to destroy harmful microbes on raw meat. Somewhere along the line, American food regulators decided a quick chlorine shock was the best way to kill salmonella and other bacteria on uncooked poultry. Chlorine marinade. And look, it's not that the EU is against taking a long gulp from the public pool now and then. In fact, the risks posed by chlorine consumption are relatively low. The bigger concern is that the chlorine baths are just an eye-burning band-aid on a larger problem. The tip of the beak, so to speak. They're worried that the PRTs are insufficient to deal with more than just the normal bacteria and don't get at a potential contamination from things like low-quality feed to unsanitary coops on farms. The EU called the chlorine rinse an easy fix, arguing no chemical rinse will ever remove all bacteria from meat heavily contaminated as a result of poor hygiene. That hurts extra to hear it from the French.
Okay. I'm sorry to keep stopping the video. For one, that's... chicken, I thought, was supposed to be like the go-to for it. Once again, you probably just need to raise your own food. But two, it's sad how they treat the animals. I mean, truthfully, that's pathetic. I mean, they're giving up their life for you to eat. At least treat them with respect and honor. That's all I gotta say. Sadly enough, what I'm looking at now is Mountain Dew, and if I have anything that's not water and then occasionally a sweet tea, it's this beverage that's on the screen right now.
Mountain Dew is the closest any soft drink has come to being fully weaponized. But did you know in Austria and Norway, the soda is outright banned? That's because Mountain Dew's signature Chernobyl radiant hue comes from tartrazine, also known as yellow 5. And if your ADHD hasn't kicked in yet, you'll remember that color and number from the Skittles section earlier. It's been linked to headaches, hyperactivity, and the desire to be annoying to other people. Ironically, the qualities that make Mountain Dew a soda non gratis in other countries is exactly what the brand promotes: a frenetic, over-caffeinated lifestyle. Do the do. Baja Blast. Woo-hoo. And while you might be able to find Mountain Dew in Europe, it's going to hit a little different. That's because Europe spent exactly 2 years in the 90s riding the dew before discontinuing it. What is being sold as Mountain Dew in the EU has a recipe closer to the original carbonated beverage, as created by Tennessee beverage bottlers Barney and Ollie Hartman in the 1940s. The original Mountain Dew was meant as a whiskey mixer, with the name coming from the affectionate Scottish term for moonshine. It'll tickle your innards, is what the old ads used to read. No lies detected here.
Yahoo! Mountain Dew!
Interesting. I didn't know that.
Little Debbie has been providing Americans with comfort snack food since the 1960s, with their variety of zebra cakes, star crunches, nutty bars, fudge rounds, and cosmic brownies. But their big claim to fame, as anyone who has ever had their lunch packed by a parent
Don't
can
you say
attest,
it.
is the Little Debbie Swiss Rolls,
You said
a
it.
mixture of rich chocolate cake and butter creamy filling. Over
It's the
900
best Little
million
Debbie thing.
cartons of Little Debbie products are
But I
shipped
feel like I'm
each
not gonna
year,
have to eat it
but
anymore.
none of those cartons go anywhere near Austria or Norway. Blame those rascally additives, yellow 5 and red 40. Swiss rolls contain 32 milligrams of dye per product, and in those quantities, they've been shown to have an adverse effect on children. And we're not just talking about causing hyperactivity, although one study found that cutting all artificial food coloring from diets may be 1/2 as effective as prescribing kids Ritalin. And while we can't prove there's a direct connection between artificial food coloring and cancer, they do cause damage to white blood cells, causing them to mutate after only 3 hours. Exposure to these dyes could cause tumor cells to multiply way more rapidly. For that reason, researchers say a high chronic intake of food colorings throughout the entire life is not advisable. If only they weren't so delicious.
No doubt.
Surprisingly, you can buy Little Debbie Swiss rolls in the EU, but they come with warning labels advising parents of the potential dangers to kids. You know, like cigarettes.
Oh my gosh. Special K?
When you hear the words banned breakfast cereal, you're probably imagining one of the countless kid-focused brands of sugary morsels, like the oh-so-delicious Cookie Crisp.
Yeah.
So you might be surprised to learn that it's actually Special K, the most boring cereal on all of the earth, that has been banned in Denmark and discouraged in the EU. How does the healthiest box of flakes on the shelf get banned, while stuff like Reese's Puffs and Cinnamon Toast Crunch continue to enjoy free passage? Ironically, because of its supposed health benefits. In the UK, Special K has been put on blast by the Advertising Standards Authority for exaggerating how much folic acid they pack into portions. Though it's still legal to buy in Europe, Denmark has completely banned Special K since 2004 for all its fortified vitamins and minerals. Regulators argue that Kellogg's cereal's unnaturally high levels of everything from vitamin A to zinc actually qualify Special K as a genetically modified organism, or GMO. More specifically, Special K is swole with the same artificial compounds that studies have shown to potentially pose health risks, specifically to children and pregnant women. In conclusion, you may want to stick with Crunch Berries.
Alright, one more pause here. Steak. I'm a little confused on the Special K, because when I said earlier I wasn't an idiot, I might be mistaken. Is it that much worse than like the sugary cereals out there? I mean, I guess if someone could clarify for me a little bit better in the comments, what's the big deal about Special K? What makes it so much worse than Cinnamon Toast Crunch, which is the best cereal ever made, or Fruity Pebbles, or anything like that? I'm a little confused on that.
You don't need to take a transcontinental flight to visit countries that have banned American foods. Just drive up to the Canadian border, flash your passport, and sign an affidavit saying you're not smuggling any steak tartare in your trunk. Today, consuming raw meat has fallen out of fashion in the US, much like other foods like veal and pate, which don't make you sick but might make you sad. But while baby cow and overstuffed goose liver is illegal in parts of America now, tartare is not. See, while veal and pate may be uncool, they are also served hot, unlike tartare, which is chopped up cold meat, straight from the cow. Undercooked or raw foods can lead to an increase in food poisoning and parasitic infections, especially in beef and poultry. But considering how fancy pants steak tartare is, Titanic food one might say, you'd think countries might look the other way and let the luxury delicacy slide. And for a long time they did.
I'm not
In
going to eat raw
Canada,
meat, so I ain't got to worry
has
about
to
that.
reach an internal temperature of 145 degrees Fahrenheit, the equivalent of a medium rare steak, in order to be considered safe to serve. But those rules aren't strictly enforced. That is, until recently. In 2021, restaurant owners in New Brunswick selling steak tartare were all served cease and desist letters. Canadian public health officials had decided that amid the ongoing health crisis of COVID-19, the last thing their citizens needed was a side order of botulism.
This one doesn't shock me. Coke has like a
Is there
ridiculous
anything
amount of
more
sugar in it.
American than Coca-Cola? The fizz, the flavor, the former secret ingredient, cocaine. Coke is basically apple pie in beverage form. And it's not just Americans who are cuckoo for Coke. Invented by a pharmacist in 1886
care
in
for Coke
Georgia,
that much.
Coca-Cola quickly caught on overseas. It was the World War II GI's drink of choice. Pre-pandemic, Coca-Cola had 500 brands in over 200 countries, making it the best-selling soft drink and one of the most recognizable brands of all time. But there will always be exceptions. And unlike the other entries on the list, For once, it has nothing to do with health concerns. Everybody knows that Coke is not good for you. We just decided collectively that we don't care. No, the countries that have outlawed the brand have done so because of what it represents, a symbol of the encroachment of American capitalism. From 1962 to 2011, the U.S. banned sales of Coke to Burma as part of sanctions against the military junta that ruled the country until 2011. It resumed sales in the country in 2012. Today, Coca-Cola is only unavailable in 2 countries with long-term trade embargoes with the U.S. North Korea hasn't allowed Coke since 1950, and the bubbly beverage has been banned in Cuba since Fidel Castro ceased supplies in 1962. First, the prequels.
I mean, it's an
now
overrated
Coke.
drink anyway.
Is there
so.
anything that can't be ruined by the federalization of trade taxation? In a twist of irony and lime, Cuba was actually one of the first bottlers of the beverage outside of America. Today, Cuba Cola has replaced Coke as the country's soft drink of choice, though black market sales abound. After all, it is the birthplace of the Cuba Libre, aka the rum and Coke.
Oh, I knew this video was going to be
The
disappointing.
delicious melt-in-your-mouth,
They are my
melt-in-your-hand
favorite little candies.
snacks were originally a collaboration between the Scion sons of the Mars and Hershey dynasties in 1941. Like Coca-Cola, M&Ms gained international fans during World War II, as American soldiers popularized the candy overseas as the chocolate that won't get your trigger finger all sticky. But you won't find the candy in Sweden, where it's banned due to a trademark conflict with a popular national candy that also features lowercase m's as its signature. When Mars introduced the candy to Sweden in 2009, a court ruled its marketing too similar to that of the Norwegian Marabous, which resemble Kit Kats. During World War I,
So it's not the
Marabou
same
had
then.
moved its manufacturing to its Swedish neighbors, where it received a royal warrant of appointment by the King of Sweden. And here we thought the Swiss were the chocolate snobs. Should you want to check out what the fuss is all about, Marabou's is sold in IKEA stores here in the U.S. Well, at least it's good to know that M&Ms don't contain any harmful dyes or chlorine residue, right? That's a pretty important victory for hard-shelled chocolate. So what do you think? Which of these banned foods sounds the most delicious?
Well, let me tell you exactly what I think. I am extremely disappointed because there was a lot of stuff on there that I knew wasn't overly great for you, but I didn't realize just how bad it really was for you. Once again, I'm disappointed in how they treat the animals. I understand that if we consume meat, we're eating them anyway, but like I said, they're giving up their life for you. Show them respect and honor. Maybe that just comes from growing up on a farm. I no longer have that farm, but I grew up on a farm and we just had a lot more respect for the animals and the food that we grew in the garden and everything. We were just more grateful for it. So let me know in the comment section down below what you guys think of this. Like I said, if you're from another country, please comment down below on any foods that I'm sure there's tons of foods that this video didn't get a chance to cover. But let me know if any of these are banned, aren't banned. If you had a favorite food that you liked it is now banned, that wasn't back in the day, anything, just let me know in the comment section down below. Thank you all so much for being here with me today. I actually kind of enjoyed that video because I know some more foods to stay away from now, which is sad because most of them I really enjoyed. So thanks everybody for being here. Like the video if you haven't already. Comment down below what you think. Subscribe to the channel. It helps me out tremendously. And we will see you on the next one.